internet, so the Earth has wizards now. My name is Matthew Kroll, and this is the only podcast about movies. You might notice a certain New Zealander, Mr. Shahir Dowd, is gone. I don't know where he is. I think I left him in Amsterdam because that's where we were last week for the Moonlight Review. But I've upped the ante, ladies and gentlemen. Since Shahir couldn't be here today, I've brought in actor, comedian, Guy Code alum, host of the High and Mighty podcast, and last and certainly not least, the number one fuck boy, live via Skype, Mr. Jon Gabrus.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Thank you for having me, Kroll. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for using my official title of number one fuck boy.
Yes, and due to your podcast and maybe a little bit of Guy Code, I've learned is it spelled B-O-I? Fuck
That
boy?
is correct. Yeah, I believe it's called F-U-C-C-B-O-I.
Oh, well. We'll have to put that on the resume. How you doing, man? I haven't talked to you for real in a little bit.
Yeah, I know. We haven't spoken that much since Guy Code versus Curl Code ended, for whatever reason.
Yep.
I mean, maybe it's coming back. Who knows?
We will never know until 3 days beforehand.
Right.
And then it will go from there. Yeah, man. So specifically today, we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange.
I'm so excited. I mean, this is our standard. I live in Los Angeles. Guy Code shoots in New York. I would fly in for 2 or 3 days at a time, and it's about every month. So I would have seen a new Marvel movie at this point, which means, all right, I'm in between taping. Kroll, 20 minutes. Let's go. I just saw Civil War. So. Now I don't have a chance to fucking fire off my Doctor Strange theories and shit. So I'm so glad you were able to have me on the only podcast about movies so I can start discussing The Good Doctor.
Yes, excellent. And I know, all things on the table. I do know that your podcast, High and Mighty, does cover films. Predator is actually, I know it's an oldie, but it's one of my particular favorites. It's just, and sort of like this film works with all of its multiple realities, we've always said that in whatever reality I live in my head, we are the only podcast about movies. We did so much Googling research when we came up with that name.
Yeah, we're like, there can't be that many movie podcasts hosted by white guys talking about, or you have a Kiwi, so you win.
And he was also born in Fiji, so
shit, complicated.
Triple threat. Okay, real quick, just up top, let's do a little housekeeping since Shahir is not here. If you'd like to reach us at all, you can catch us at onlymoviepodcast@gmail.com. Please write us in with any likes, dislikes, things you agree with or not, movie requests, etc. You can also reach us on Twitter at onlymoviepod. Also, if you like what you hear, rate us on iTunes. We really appreciate it. Okay, jumping right in. Doctor Strange. I mean, what's your history with the character? Did you ever read any Doctor Strange books or anything like that?
I've read a few Doctor Strange trades. I remember when one year with my birthday money, I bought Secret Defenders 1 through 10.
Right.
And I was super pumped about that. But I didn't read too much about it. I was just always, once the MCU was created, I was always pumped for Doctor Strange to see if they would make a very genre-y version of the movie, you know? Well, that's my whole thing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe is I want superhero movies to not be a genre anymore. And for Marvel to make, they sort of do it. Thor is sort of a fantasy, right. Daredevil's sort of a noir, Jessica Jones is a psychological thriller. They're sort of they sort of do that, but I want them to straight up do that with the movies and Doctor Strange sort of does it where it's kind of a trippier version, but it's still very much beat for beat a Marvel movie.
Yeah, 100%. So something I've always, and again, I didn't have a huge history with the character myself. I liked him, so I saw him in a lot of crossover shit. He'd come and help Spider-Man when fucking Mobius, the living vampire, hit the ceiling or any of that shit. And I always liked him.
The Infinity Gauntlet, of course. You're oh, Doctor Strange, he's an interesting character.
Yeah. Oh, there's magic. Oh, he's here now. Just whenever they get hurt, Night Nurse is there, all that shit. But but yeah. So this was the movie. Like you were saying, how they try to they've been sort of playing with genre at least a little bit. I was worried the most about because. For me, I think it's a harder sell than even Guardians was. We've all seen space opera type movies before. So just because it's Marvel, it's their version. This was just something that they haven't touched on really. Thor had a little bit of magic, but not really. I don't know. So I was kind of terrified. I was if they're ever going to fail, this could be the film they fail with. But I will say that I was pleasantly surprised overall with the film.
Yeah, I assumed it would be decent. I think Marvel is not going to give you less than a 6 movie-wise ever. It's always going to be at least decent, but they are really, and we talked about this when you and I chatted about Civil War. As much as I loved Civil War, they really are starting to blend together in my head where I'm like,
right.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, right, the airport fight scene or the airplane fights, like they all, that's why like the idea of like Doctor Strange and the Guardians of the Galaxy at least is like a completely different palette we're painting with or something.
Yeah. I was going to say the thing, I think I talked to you about this too. My one issue with Civil War was that, this was the conflict between Iron Man and Captain America that I actually really cared about. Like, I care about interpersonal stuff in films more than I do like, oh shit, the world's going to blow up again. And so I was like, okay, so this is the conflict I'm interested in. Now with these other films that are coming out, plus Infinity War, I'm like, what can they do to make me care as much about that as I do about Cap and Iron Man's friendship?
And I don't know how they're going to do it because that's fucking... you can't just keep making bigger and bigger things in outer space.
Right.
There's a law of diminishing returns. At a certain point, you're like that was my only real complaint with Doctor Strange was I'm just so tired of like the bad guy being an ephemeral being that you never, like Thanos, the fucking invasion in Avengers, like all of these bad guys are just like vague. We're bad guys. Like the guy with the hammer from Guardians of the Galaxy, Dormammu. They all just seem like, trust me when we say this guy's insanely evil and insanely powerful.
Yes.
And you're like, I don't even understand how Dormammu is powerful. Oh no, they're bending space.
I mean, that's one way to do it. I actually, and we'll get into that a little bit later down the film, but the Dormammu thing, again, I was super worried about it. And then I really liked the way they handled it, at least the way that Dormammu and Strange's battle at the end happened. That felt 100% right to me, where it could have just been another, even though it would have been magic, people punching each other in the face, which a lot of the film before that is. It's fight scenes, but with magic and with trippy special effects as opposed to space special effects or
right.
Yeah.
It's still crazy to me that the Marvel movie is a complete shift to magic and a whole new character and arguably like could be a different time period even, and it's still just punching, shooting, jumping, kicking. It's like, come on, no. A staff, a electric whip. We've literally seen those weapons in other movies.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because these
other Marvel
movies. Yeah. It's funny because so my usual co-host, Shahir Dowd, so he's the one on the podcast that hates fun. And that's been a long time sort of like stamp of his. He doesn't stamp him that way. I do. He's the slightly more pretentious one. I won't shit talk him too much because he's not here to, defend himself. But he hates the Marvel MCU. Not that he doesn't like specific films, but he just hates the fact that it is sort of cookie cutter. And it is, we've seen it before. And like, it is this like movies to make other movies thing. Which I don't personally mind as long as it's entertaining, but it's just interesting that he won't be here to defend his points. Although he did want me to tell you that he is a huge fan of your podcast and Gino on Comedy Bang Bang.
All right, well then this guy, then you know what? Then Kroll, this guy's right. Fuck you, I'm with him.
No. After that wonderful,
flattery will get you everywhere. With me.
Shit. Well. I don't know where to go from there.
I was excited for Doctor Strange because I like to get stoned and go to the movies, and then I felt like, oh, this is one I can like. I should get stoned to go see this one.
That was my question. Were you of sound mind and body, or did you have chemical enhancement when you saw this film?
I almost always, like my friend Jeff Rubin says, yeah, when someone goes, yeah, but you were probably high during it, you go, yeah, well, it was a movie. like I get stoned for it. Like I always, or the Bruce Banner line from Avengers, that's the thing. I'm always high.
Yeah, okay. It's a bit of
yes, I did partake in some fine California medicinal edible maple sriracha pretzel nuggets.
That is a fuck ton of chemicals to put in your body. Not just the drug, but also all of those flavors you just said. How did your palate not explode?
I was doing great.
All right.
In that sequence when Tilda Swinton is trying to demonstrate the world to him, I started like laughing. I'm like, this is so intentionally crazy and weird. Like she's trying to freak him out. So I love that sort of like cheeky in the know of like, we know this is, so it's just colors and he's falling. It's like such a perfect example of that.
So I saw it. I saw it sober. Which, you know, I guess that'll be our two sort of our two viewpoints as we go down the line.
Tell of two cities.
Yeah, yes. So let's talk a little bit about casting. So I personally was very happy they did Benedict Cumberbatch for this film. I think he fit it perfectly. Look wise, you know, temperament wise, I think it all fit pretty well. What about you?
I loved it. I was hoping he would be older. I always imagine Doctor Strange is a little older.
Right.
And that's something that's not really in the Marvel universe. Like Robert Downey Jr. is maybe the oldest person and he's acts like a 28-year-old in every movie. You know what I mean? It might be cool to have, I guess fucking Vision is the oldest dude now.
I guess
technically Cap is the oldest, but he's only 30 body-wise.
Right. Yeah. I think, so, Doctor Strange always did sort of clock a little bit older for me. What I'm wondering is, because this movie does something that I don't know, well, maybe Ant-Man did this in the MCU, as far as timeline-wise goes, like, this movie starts maybe 2-3 years, before where the MCU currently is now.
Right.
And then eventually it time jumps to current times, because they bring up the Avengers, and they bring up a one or two things.
Yeah, exactly.
Which actually, that's before we sort of get into a little bit more of the meat and potatoes. That's something I also really respected about this film, that it seems some Marvel movies, namely Ultron or Iron Man 2, fell into the trap of like just being a vehicle for them to announce other characters and other films coming out.
Right.
This one felt standalone, right? Like this one could have existed in its own.
They have too many movies coming out to like, they don't need to promote them. Like they're just coming out like every 3 months or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they're going to use the Avengers as like the big, like, don't worry, a couple of these people will get their own movie, blah, 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 just like that, you know?
Yeah.
That's at least what it feels like, where it's like the Avengers is where you'll see Black Panther and you're like, dope. Oh, he's going to get his own movie. Oh, this person's going to get their own movie, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, for instance, like, even in Civil War, I was psyched they basically did that Black Panther, T'Challa's origin story, so now we don't have to deal with that shit when we get the Black Panther movie. Like,
right, it turned me on to Spider-Man. I'm, like, excited for a Spider-Man movie for the first time in years, because that kid, Tom Holland, was great.
Yeah, he was phenomenal, and I'm so glad that that's happening.
A highlight of Civil War for me was how good that kid was as Peter Parker.
Yeah. It was
used comic relief for the first he works so good as part of a bigger story.
Yeah, and his chemistry with Robert Downey Jr. just in that one tiny bedroom scene was like enough to sell me, even before the airport.
I didn't think we were going to see him actually fight in the movie. I thought it would be mostly that, and then getting to see him fight in the movie, and he does great, and the effects look awesome, and that Queens Brooklyn moment is so good,
so good. I
fucking love it.
Well, something I think that they're trying to do with, and probably starting with Doctor Strange, it's just sort of bringing up the age thing. I bet you the plan for Benedict Cumberbatch and Doctor Strange throughout the MCU will probably be, he'll be Doctor Strange for a while, and hopefully we'll see him sort of get older. So when we get into, phase 4 after Infinity War or whatever, when they start basically retiring the actors playing the characters now, for instance, most likely Cap will die and Iron Man will pass the mantle. I think they're going to try to do what they're doing in the comic books, and which is sort of like, because almost every character is a different person now. Either, Miles Morales is also Spider-Man in the comic books.
Right.
Captain Marvel, that's Carol Danvers again. That's sort of she took the mantle of Captain Marvel. I think Thor now is actually Jane Foster. Like
Thor is a chick.
Yep.
It's great.
Iron Man's a woman now. Riri Williams. He passed the mantle of Iron Man. Tony Stark did, to a 15-year-old genius in the comics. And I think Sam Wilson's currently Captain America. So anyway, the point is they're not only redoing the characters sort of for the times, but like diversifying and everything. I think the MCU will eventually follow suit.
Right. Because now they're a two-headed beast. Now, they're going, hey, we got to make a couple of minority characters that people catch on to, and then we can make movies about them. It's like betting on a character. It's like, well, we're going to lose Robert Downey Jr., so let's make the Tony Stark, the Iron Man people become fans of. Like, let's work that concurrently. That's 100. There's no way that Iron Man is not going to be a girl now in the future, because it's going to follow suit to the comics.
100%. Well, actually, and that, I guess, goes into one other thing I want to talk about before we get into the actual happenings of Doctor Strange. Did you hear about the whole the whitewashing bit about the Ancient One and all that nonsense in the news? Did you hear about that at all?
Yes, I saw that. I saw the backlash. I saw the backlash to the backlash. I saw the guys, we shouldn't even be bothering with this when this is going on. Right. I saw every angle.
Oh, so you looked at the internet on a regular day, is what you're saying?
Yes. I opened my computer.
Oh, and sometimes that's the worst thing we can do. Yeah, man. I don't know. I think this movie saw that little bit of backlash and might have added a line or two to sort of because they bring up the whole it's a multi-ethnic thingamajigget, and they actually bring it up, and I think the casting that they did, everyone as far as acting wise did a great job, and I didn't see any problem with it because A, it's from what the comic book was, and B, I do kind of feel like I know that their plan is to, as these characters retire and move on, we're going to get the new characters that are more diverse from the comic books.
Right. Right. But look, I see it and I don't see it. Like Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One, that's such a chance to just cast an Asian person there.
Also true.
Yeah.
And
it's
even
very easy.
Yeah. I do see that. Even if they wanted it to be a woman, cast an Asian woman. But then you could also have, I'm going to now argue with myself. If you do that,
please do.
If you do that, then are you just playing into what is basically sort of racist stereotype from the 60s or 70s whenever he's mythical and he knows some sort of martial art type thing, they have to be Asian.
Right, but if you're not going to make Doctor Strange Asian, if you're not going to make if you're not going to make anyone else Asian, and you have a character there, why not make that you're right. I don't know what's actually worse, but if you're not going to get Asian people cast in movies if you don't write Asian roles either. So
that is true.
It's got to be that. Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen listening, this has been two white guys talk about diversity in Hollywood blockbuster films.
Two white straight males really nailing down what a Disney product did wrong.
Well, let's talk about stuff that we might actually, or that our opinions might matter on.
All opinions matter. Real quick though, isn't it crazy that everything we love is now delivered to us via Disney?
Yeah,
Star Wars and Marvel was my entire childhood, and now Disney owns it all. That's just very terrifying to imagine. One person is your supplier for so many things you love. One entity seems dangerous.
It does seem dangerous, but they haven't fucked it up yet. That's not saying they won't. Right?
It's going well. It's going well, which is crazy. Disney is doing well by me.
Yeah, I don't get it. It is a little bit nerve-wracking. And even, I have high hopes for Rogue One. I hope that does well. And it seems to maybe be doing it's going to be good. I don't know. Yeah, it is a monolith, and we will all now basically, if we ever want to feel like a child again, we will bow to the Temple of the Mouse, or we get nothing.
Yeah. Here, hold on. I'm gonna now I have a couple ideas about Black Panther and how I think that movie's racist. No, I'm just kidding. Well, here's the thing. How come there's no White Panther?
Oh, perfect. This is a continuation of two white straight guys talking about gender issues or race issues.
So let's get into Doctor Strange itself. Oh,
yes.
They do give Benedict Cumberbatch the gray temples.
Yep.
After he uses the time glove, the Nickelodeon powered time. I had so many. I always use some stupid nicknames, and there was so much shit in that movie. Like so many little things where I was like, I don't know what that's called, because it's also the Doctor Strange universe is even smaller than the Marvel universe. Like adamantium outside of Wolverine movies, but like the references, I was like, oh boy. My friend Mark Rennie, a gay man, said any superhero who gets more powerful with every accessory is a guy I can get behind.
Nice.
Doctor Strange literally is like, ooh, a necklace. Now I have this power. Check out this cloak. Oh, snap. This is powerful. Like, he's like getting dressed up and everything is giving him power.
And they're all called something nuts, like the Eye of Agamotto. I don't never know how to pronounce it. The Cloak of Levitation. Someone had like Leopold's hover boot. I don't even know what the fuck they were called.
Right. There was the Staff of the Living Tribunal.
Yes. They mentioned the fucking Living Tribunal, which comic book nerds, that's supposed to be, I think, the most powerful being in the Marvel Universe. The little tri-faced dude who, like, is the size of Galactus.
At least according to my Marvel cards that I had, he had 7 in strength, intelligence, energy projection, wisdom, and speed, but a 1 in fighting ability because he wasn't made to fight.
All right, fair enough. That's a deep cut. Was that the combat game or just the collectible one?
Just the collectible one, because I remember the Celestial Beings were like their own category, and there was the Watcher, him, Galactus, Silver Surfer, and their powers were like all so close to 7.
Yeah, and 7 was the max.
7 was the max. Like Hulk had a 7 in strength, Thing had a 6.
Okay.
And it was like really fun. Wolverine had a 6 in fighting ability. You know, like Night Thrasher had a high fighting ability. I can't believe I remember these facts.
Yeah, come on, keep them going. What else you got?
Holy shit, why do I remember these scores of... That's how obsessive I was when I was a child.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, these arbitrary things like fucking stats on the back of a cards like could basically make you win arguments with your friends. Like this was like, oh, you don't think Thing could beat fucking Wolverine in an arm wrestling like it's like, boom, here it is. And you're like, well, fuck it. And that kind of shit's important when you're 12.
Yeah. It's important to come equipped, ready to win any conversation you have with your friends.
100%. Because if you don't, then you're.
What's the point of having friends if you can't be beating them?
Right. There's no point. You heard it here first. So, okay, Doctor Strange, 14th movie in this fucking MCU. Yeah, like I was saying before, I think this film overall was strong. I think it's what the MCU kind of needs to keep going, self-contained stories. The right amount of sort of references. There were only, I think, 2 in-film references to the rest of it, one mentioning the Avengers and one mentioning an Infinity Stone, which is sort of par for the course.
Right. And I like that they sort of throw it away.
Yeah. Oh, they're all just like, and by the way, this thing is an Infinity Stone. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, he literally says like, wow, this thing's pretty powerful. He's like, yeah, what do you expect from an Infinity Stone? And he's like, huh?
Rim
like,
shot.
He's like, don't worry about it.
Obviously, the visuals were nuts and something that you don't really see in mainstream action cinema.
It was fun. It was like, you know, that whole sequence where she's trying to trip him out, and she's so good in the movie. Yeah. And she all that shit makes me laugh so much.
Yeah. Trying to think what else. Christine Palmer, the character played by Rachel McAdams. I feel like overall underused, but actually the first time I've enjoyed Rachel McAdams in a while. Like I liked her in Mean Girls and I liked her in a couple other things, and like I haven't actually seen her seem like she's having fun in a role, especially after fucking what the hell was that HBO series? God, I'm blanking. The one where she's like the detective.
True Detective.
Oh yeah, True Detective season 2. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened.
What about what you got to see In Time?
She's in Time?
No, About Time. About Time.
About Time. What is that?
It's her and Donald Gleason, and it's like a time travel rom-com, and it's so good.
Really?
It's very good. Bill Nighy's in it as the dad. He has like the ability to create save points in his life, more or less, and like retry situations over and over and over again.
Okay. I just wrote that down.
She's so good in it. He's so good in it. Let me just make sure it's called About Time.
Yeah, don't lie to me.
It is called About Time, 2013 fantasy drama film, written and directed by Richard Curtis.
Okay.
The guy who did Love Actually and Four Weddings and a Funeral Song.
Okay.
It's really good.
All
And
right.
she's great in it.
Yeah, I missed seeing her have fun, and I wish we got to see her a little more. I mean, the love interest nonsense story is almost like, I think they did it the least amount they could get away with it in a mainstream blockbuster, if that makes sense.
Right.
And I appreciated that, but I also would have liked to see sort of more of who the fuck she was.
I would like to have seen Doctor Strange do some things to protect New York that weren't directly associated with the story. Like, I would like to see him trying to live his life as the New York Guardian.
Right.
Where it's like, what I want to see a little, like, like there's the montage always in Ghostbusters that comes to mind where it's like when they're busting ghosts before the real plot of the movie blows up. You just see them, you see like, oh, this is what ghost busting is. Because I don't think we really know what the magical guardian of the New York area is.
Yeah.
I think you got to see it a couple of times and maybe see like him defend a robbery or something, something small scale that we want to see from Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I think the movie did. I think that, so that's on the flip side of it. The movie did feel so contained in its own little world. I think that was having to do with like the dimensional nonsense that it would have been nice to see him sort of like outside of that and doing regular shit. I think the script, the way it was written, sort of didn't allow for that because he didn't become like the New York Guardian of the Sanctum until the very end. So hopefully, if there's a number 2, we could see that.
Right. Like, I would love to have seen, like, him just do, the normal shit that you would see. Like, what does that entail before it's all of a sudden a battle for the livelihood of the material plane?
Right.
Like, just a couple of, like, lead-up fights where you're just like, here's the Avengers busting people, and then maybe there's that, like, he defends New York. Who? What's this card? Dormammu is coming. Like the stupid bullshit. Right. All these guys seem to be all up in arms about Dormammu.
Oh, Dormammu. Fun fact about me and Dormammu, he was one of my mains in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So,
whoa.
Yeah, I was...
Whoa, that's huge.
He was...
I said that so condescendingly that I felt bad after I...
No, don't, because I used the sentence, he's one of my mains in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So that was totally justified. But seriously, I was so fucking good. Anyway, that's how I got all my girlfriends. So yeah, overall, I think the music was standard Marvel fare. I don't remember the score, therefore I don't think it was phenomenal.
No, it wasn't particularly good.
I heard a sitar in there though, so
and that's usually a big plus for me, but not in the same.
And then I don't know. I think
Jack Michelson was so good as the bad dude, as the what's his face?
Do you remember his name?
No, I do not.
I'm gonna try to pronounce it. I'm gonna butcher it. Calcilius.
Calcilius. Yeah. Sorry, I don't remember Calcilius.
Yeah.
He wasn't one of my favorites growing up.
Yeah.
Dormammu was a celestial being in that card game too, and he had pretty high scores, and he had like fire for a head, if I remember correctly.
See, now you're on my level, so now I don't know if I really appreciate the condescending remark from before. This is from the man that was giving me fucking stats off Marvel cards.
One of my mains, baby.
All right. So, film directed by Scott Derrickson, who actually is more of a horror guy.
Right. What was the thing he did before this?
He's done Sinister, Deliver Us from Evil, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and Hellraiser Inferno. I
guess which one of those must have had some trippy enough graphics for Kevin Feige to trust him.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say. I mean, it's funny because like all these Marvel movies sort of washed together, a lot of the current horror films sort of washed together for me as well. Like, I don't remember which ghost is from what fucking movie and like all that shit.
On my horror movies episode of my podcast, I got Sinister and Insidious confused.
Yeah.
Similar names, similar premises, and people went after me on Twitter. I was like, I'm sorry.
I will. Yeah, seriously. There is horror movie people, I think sometimes, and I fall into the category a little bit, but they get so passionate about their shit that when someone does talk about it, if you say something wrong, oh, damn.
I will say that episode got a surprisingly above average number of hits.
I think
it's because horror movie fans are just consuming anything about horror movies and then finding what's wrong with them.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I also think, and I know we're getting into a little bit of shop talk here, but I also think that the horror movie fan base is probably one of the, I guess, least catered to with like freshness in a weird way. Like they're used to everything they get and they like it, but I don't think anyone's really tapped into like the next thing for horror.
Right. I think you see it a little bit every once in a while here and there, and it's like, oh, cool. A movie like Blair Witch is pretty cool. Then 25 movies like Blair Witch come out.
Yeah.
Then it's like, a movie like You're Next is cool because it's John Carpenter, and then 25 John Carpenter ripoffs come out. Yeah. And then it's like Exorcism movie, 25. Based on a fairy tale, 25 of those. Beast in the House, Insidious, then there's 20. Like, they just find, like, Conjuring 112, found footage. Like, they find their premise and they destroy it because it's a low-budget genre. So people can just you can just make rip-offs and hope. And horror movie people will be like, I've seen every version of that. Because a scare is a scare, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're lighting them up right now. If you put horror in the metadata for this episode, you're going to get fucking annihilated.
Nice. I love it. I bring it on, because Dormammu's my main.
Dormammu is my main.
But what was I going to say? I think the next thing, and again, slightly off topic, but fuck it. I think horror is going to move towards more of the VR space.
Oh, fuck yeah. It makes sense. Porn and horror.
Yeah, porn and horror will be the things, the rocket jets that VR attaches to become mainstream. Have you played any of the VR stuff, like the PlayStation VR or any of that garbage?
No. I did like a little bit of like the Google Cardboard with like a surfing app, and it was pretty fucking wild. I'm into trying it though, for sure.
If you have a PS4, I suggest getting the PlayStation VR and a game called Rush of Blood. It's a horror. It could be a porn or a horror at that point. You don't know, but it actually is a horror one.
Either way, I'm hard as a rock right
now. Where you're on like basically a haunted roller coaster and you have two guns, and it's basically taking you through like, it starts as just like a haunted carnival with scary clowns, and it eventually turns into like a slaughterhouse, and then your fucking psychological nightmares, like, and it's all around you. It's terrifying and amazingly fun.
That's awesome. Rush of Blood.
It's actually only $20. The game is only $20, and I think it's probably the best value on that thing. So
I'm an Xbox guy, but maybe I'll hold out for the next VR thing from Microsoft.
Indeed. But yes, unlike horror, it's time for full-on spoilers, I think, for Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Why are you listening to this episode of this podcast if you did not see the movie Doctor Strange? First of all, why are you listening to this, period?
Yep.
Stop. Totally new idea. Why are you definitely why are you listening to this if you didn't see Doctor Strange? And then one step further, why are you still listening to this at this moment if you haven't seen Doctor Strange?
We are 34 minutes in, and we actually, because we do post these, Gabrus, a week later, it is expected that they see it, but we've actually gotten a lot of Twitter and like emails and stuff from people being like, I really want to watch this or listen to this one, but I haven't seen it. And I was like, well, I can't. I wish I could help you. I wish I could build the time into your day. But
I know exactly what you mean. For How Did This Get Made? Another movie podcast that I'm a big fan of.
Yes.
I listened to all the episodes that I'd seen the movies of, and then I realized that you can get an equal amount of enjoyment out of the episode if you haven't seen the movie. So I was like, no, I'm not going to wait. And also they're watching bad movies, so I'm not going to go out of my way to watch a 2-hour bad movie to listen to an hour-and-a-half podcast about it.
I remember their Mario Brothers one. I actually watched it. I watched Mario Brothers again before listening to it. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I could have. You know, it's weird. I mean, I'm not going to say it was good, but I actually enjoyed it more this time watching it because it's so fucking stupid.
It is insane.
Anyway, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange opens up with Calcilius, yeah, whatever. Main bad guy stealing a page from the book of Caligostro. Yeah, that book. You know, we've all read it. Basically killing a bunch of people from a magical order, and it's a standard Marvel villain sort of setup that we always seem to get in the beginning of these films.
Right.
Like
just another minor complaint is that it's like always some esoteric threat that's like hard to fully understand. It's like,
right.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah. So he steals the book, and it's supposed to be a mystery. We don't quite know why. Then we cut to the meat and potatoes of the movie. Stephen Strange being a brilliant surgeon who also apparently is a music trivia whiz.
Yeah. I like that. I like the way they set up that he's a smarmy, arrogant genius. Like his memorization is like through the roof, which I think is really fun.
Yeah, they set it up nicely. They give him sort of a Tony Stark feel without feeling like he's ripping off Tony Stark, which is real fucking hard to do, I feel like, from a writing perspective.
It gives you that arrogance without feeling like it's stepping on Tony Stark in any way. Yeah.
What does he do? He does a tricky operation. A patient is presumed dead by another doctor. He's like, no, he's not. There's just a bullet in his on switch or whatever. And then he like does it without.
It's right on his prostate. He's in a current state of climax. His heart is stopped.
So he goes in there and he does it by hand, even though he's not supposed to, and he saves the day, and hooray. So then he kind of brushes off Christine, Rachel McAdams' character.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, it's two parts of, him being a douchebag. And then sort of the reason this whole thing happens, he's basically texting while driving on his way to an event.
It's crazy that a Marvel character's origin story now features texting while driving.
Yeah. He's looking at, I think, medical records, which actually, fun nerdy fact, my friend. I guess because they reference as he's going through like the yes and no's of who he'd want to operate on, and he says no to somebody because like it would be too challenging and he'd ruin his streak. Another douchey thing to say. He references a couple sort of tie-ins. There's one, they say like, oh, there's a colonel from the military that broke his back in a military exosuit. And at first
that would be Rhodes, right?
Yeah, well that's what the internet thought until they realized this was still 2 years before Civil War. I actually think they're referencing there is, I don't know if you remember in Iron Man 2 when Justin Hammer, Sam Rockwell is in front of Congress and he's like showing off, Tony hijacks the fucking feed and like shows what Hammer Industries is doing, and there's a mech that walks out and then with a pilot in it, and it just twists at its back 180 and you just hear the pilot scream.
Oh my God, they're referencing that?
Maybe. Awesome. I mean, that's the only thing that lines up timeline wise.
That's completely possible for them. That's awesome.
And then there's another reference to a woman who was struck by lightning, but she had brain implants that was very tough to operate on. And we think that might be Carol Danvers. That might be Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
No clue, but we'll see how that plays out. Anyway.
That's some good Easter eggs there, Kroll.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for. Especially, Gabrus, I don't get to do this when Shahir's around, so I'm just going to keep giving fun facts that only half of our audience cares about.
Is that his specialty, is the Easter eggs?
No, his specialty is shitting on anything I enjoy.
Okay. So you're saying we're just getting a lot done because we both agree.
Right. If one of us didn't like this movie, there'd be a lot more fighting and defense. So Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange crashes his car. Obviously his hands, a la the comic book, get super fucked up. He falls into a life of just being pissed off at everybody. No one can fix him. So he just starts searching for any possible way. He tries regular medicine, other surgeons, they all fail him. And he basically pushes away everyone in his life, loses all of his money, and basically becomes eventually kind of like just sort of a hobo. He uses all of his money based on a hunch. How did he find out about Kamatash? Do you remember?
He asked, he asked his physical therapy guy, have you ever seen anyone come back from this? And he said, one guy, miraculously, he's like, if I do this thing, will you give me the record? He gets the record.
Yep.
And finds him, and that's Benjamin Bratt.
Yep.
As just a fucking dude who healed himself with wizardry and bounced.
Yeah. And he basically learned the mystic arts to be like, screw it, I can walk with these magic legs and beat
now
the end.
I can play street ball, and that's what they pull up on him doing. He's playing street. He's a 50-year-old man playing street ball under the auspices of using magic to even walk.
Yeah. Hey, you got to do what you love. And actually, Doctor Strange is basically looking for the same thing. He's not looking for enlightenment at this point. He's looking for a fix for his hands so he can go back to work being a smarmy asshole.
Yeah, and then I wonder if he'll grow at all.
If he'll grow?
Like as a character, I wonder if he'll grow at all and decide maybe it's not about my hands being fixed. Maybe it's about something bigger.
Yeah.
Wonder if he'll learn that.
Hopefully we'll see some of that knowledge in future sequels or other appearances because we don't get much of it here. Yeah. Then he goes finally to Kamatosh. He meets that sort of sequence is kind of interesting, how he's just sort of like walking through the square and like seeing all the mystics and things, and then like the one that actually is the place is just like a door, and he's like all put off that like it doesn't look mystic.
'Cause he's like a crazier looking like whitewashed dude across the street, and they're like, well, he seems a little more Kamatosh. Then he goes in there, meets the ancient white one, and chats it up with her and learns a little bit of shit from her. Then he demonstrates. I'm going to go beat by beat through the whole movie. I don't have to do that, obviously.
No, but you can. Keep going.
And then he demonstrates his persistence by staying out on the patio and the porch or whatever.
Oh, that's right. They pull a Fight Club because she teases him that scene you were talking about before, about when like the first time the Ancient One, Tilda Swinton, pushes him out of his body, and he's like, "Oh fuck, this is real." And then he lands. He asks what's in the tea, like he thought he was drugged, and it was just fucking tea.
They had a little moment, a little shout out to their critique when you walk in there, and it's like, oh, the Ancient One, and then it's just an old Asian man leaves, and it's like, and it's like, all right, you're calling it out a little bit, but it feels like you're being even more of a bully in some way.
Yeah,
too.
I can see that. They definitely didn't need that, though. I think that character, oh fuck, I'm blanking. My nerdiness is failing me. That character is an actual character in Doctor Strange. He's supposed to be a dude with one hand who might have. They reference him. The name they use for that guy that leaves is supposed to be like Wong's father or something.
Oh, we see him later with one hand.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When he can't get the things right, he's like, "It's my hands are too fucked up," and she's like, "Show him." He pulls out his a hand and a stump and does it, and is like, "A stump? That's so mean." A hand and his thing, and is like, his thing.
Keep going. I hand you the shovel. Now dig.
He demonstrates that he could do it with only one hand. Yep. So Doctor Strange, you could probably do it with just some busted up fingers.
Yeah, exactly.
And we see that he trains, he learns some spells, and then the second he learns like a spell, shit hits the I like that he's jamming through books. I like that that's like a little runner, is that him and the librarian have a tete-a-tete because he's going through the books so fast.
Right. We meet Wong as the librarian, who in the comics is also sort of Doctor Strange's like sidekick, I guess would be the right term. And then we also meet Mordo, who, again, because I didn't read the Doctor Strange books, I didn't really know Mordo's angle. And then by the end of this film, I think it sets it up to actually an interesting place. He's like a guy that's like helping with Doctor Strange's training in the film. Played by, I love this actor so much, and I butcher his fucking name every time. Can you say it right?
Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Yes. I everything that man is in is fucking magic.
He's the fucking super badass assassin in Serenity, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. He's so good in that.
That's how you do a fucking villain. So if spoiler, but like he eventually at a post-credit sequence becomes bad due to some actually interesting reasons, not just like, I'm pissed. Like I actually enjoy the like actual moral reasons he has. But if we can get
he's like chaotic, he's like lawful good or chaotic good to a degree where it makes him evil.
Right. What would be the D&D fucking alignment for Mordo at the end of the film? Because he basically, Mordo gets upset because basically all the stuff that the Ancient One is teaching, we learn this throughout the film, ends up being actually kind of hypocritical because we're supposed to stay away from Dormammu and the dark dimension because it's like the dark side basically and it turns you fucking bad. But the Ancient One has been ciphering off just a little bit of the dark world's energy to
be powerful and to stay alive.
Right. So he's basically pissed off at the hypocrisy of it. So I would say he would probably be lawful neutral or lawful evil at this point because he's like, no, like rules are fucking rules and you guys are all hypocrites.
Right. It's lawful neutral or lawful evil.
Yeah.
I guess like it's lawful to his own belief system, which I think makes you I don't know. Well,
lawful neutral. No, you got it. I think that's what it is, right? We did it. We did it.
We've established true virginity.
I think they gathered that through.
yeah. We're putting that vibe out there heavy.
Thank God we're both in committed relationships.
They set up a pretty him as a pretty cool bad guy. He's fun in the movie too, kind of being the sort of straight man to Doctor Strange.
Yep.
And he has some cool weaponry. He has those cool boots that lets him jump a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. He's got the double or triple jump. He's run through fucking Castlevania enough where he's got that shit.
Yeah, he's got the triple jump modifier on. What else? Then he starts fucking with the eye that can turn back time.
Yes, the eye of Amamoto. Fucking A. I can never even say it. It's the one he uses in the comic book all the time. I have a moto, I think is what it is. And please, people write in. Only movie podcasts tell me I'm stupid.
I like that they slowly built out the classic Doctor Strange costume over the course of the movie.
Yep.
But the goatee sequence where he's just in the middle of like Nepal and he's using a electric buzzer to trim his beard down to an insane Tony Stark-esque goatee.
Hey.
That should have been the post-credit sequence. It should have been fucking Strange next to Stark, both trimming. Hey, you do a weird goatee too. Yeah, man, I do a fucking insane goatee. That would have been great.
That would have been good. I am actually very interested to see those characters together. Like, I'm very curious what that fucking banter would be.
Yeah. I think it's like a genius conservative and a genius liberal getting to, what I mean? It's like, he's like a hippie and he's like a strict little army boy.
Right.
That was scary. What just happened there?
So we're on video Skype, listeners, and my cat just moved my door to my studio open. It looked from the bottom, I'm sure, to Gabrus, that a ghost just did it.
Yeah, because the cat is not visible from my angle, so that was briefly terrifying.
No, I'm either being punked or murdered. No, she was. Zoe was trying to get rubber bands to chew on and hurt herself, but we'll deal with that if it happens. So anyway, Calcilius ends up busting up during Doctor Strange's training and starts basically fucking up all the sanctums. There's one in London, there's one in Hong Kong, and there's one in New York, and they form a protective barrier around the world from mythical threats, which is why we haven't seen any before yet.
And conveniently, those three cities, while all around the globe, all speak English as their primary language.
Oh, wow. I was going to say ley lines, but I think you're onto something.
What's the ley lines from again?
Well, ley lines are like the mythical energy. I think they mention it briefly or something, but it's like it's like lines of magical energy that surround the earth, and where they cross are like nexus points.
Right.
So that's why I think that was their
first, Jerry, nexus of the universe.
Yeah. So like, I think that was their sort of excuse for like, okay, if this is forming a barrier around the globe, why aren't they like equidistant from one another? Like, like if you had three legs on a table or a chair and they were put in the same positions that these cities were on the globe, the chair wouldn't stand. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, going a little too deep into real life shit for this movie. So London falls.
Much like the film London Has Fallen.
Yes, which I have not seen, but I heard is stupid and fun.
Dude, you have to see it. You absolutely have to see it. The fucking president of the United States of America kills terrorists with an MP5.
All right. I'm there.
Played by Aaron Eckhart.
Yep.
It's deeply racist against like the Middle East. Like, there's a moment where Gerard Butler kills someone and goes, "Go back to Hedistan or wherever you're from."
Whoa! Wow!
It's fucking great. Highly recommended.
Okay. I think people should get off the Doctor Strange train and maybe look a little closer at something of that if they want to get pissed off about some shit.
Currently on Netflix. Highly recommended. Yeah.
All right.
So then, in Mads Mikkelsen, in Calcilius's crew, here's a deep cut. One of the actors is a dude named Richard Atkins, who's the guy from Ninja 2 Shadow of the Tear.
No fucking way.
He's like a famous B-movie actor. Like, he's in all these straight-to-video martial arts movies, and he's in this weird-ass Chinese action movie that I just watched called Wolf Warrior as, like, the only American character.
Nice. Was Wolf Warrior a current film, or is that, like, an older one?
It's a current film, and it's fucking crazy. It's
all right.
wild.
Check that out as well.
That's also on Netflix and in Chinese and features, I don't even want to spoil a sequence. If you make it 20 minutes into the movie, watch the first 20 minutes. If you're not entertained, bail, because it's a lot more of that. about 20 minutes into that movie, something real fucking weird happens that you do not expect, and it's, if you enjoy it, then you're gonna love the movie.
You're in for the correct ride. You've bought the right ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
So actually, around this time in Doctor Strange, this is probably my one real problem with the film. I feel like it moves very quickly in its little trippy world, and I can't remember for the life of me sort of order of events. I know London Sanctum gets fucked up. Doctor Strange gets pushed into the New York Sanctum. The owner of the New York Sanctum, I'm trying to remember the dude's name. Drum. They just call him Drum. Who actually, another Marvel deep cut, he dies in the film. He's probably the character of Brother Voodoo's brother, because they were the Drum brothers, if I remember correctly. So, like, and Dr. Voodoo could summon the spirit of his brother to, like, fight with him.
I don't remember this character at all, but that's an awesome deep cut right there.
So then Strange and Caecilius fight in a very cool sequence throughout the New York Sanctum, and like that's when he gets the cloak of levitation. And I like how
this is the Harry Potter fight.
Yes, but I like it. When you say it like that, I don't like it because I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan.
But it's Harry Potter-esque. I liked it, but it's very Harry Potter-esque.
Well, they basically, I mean, thanks Disney, you turned the cloak of levitation into basically carpet from Aladdin.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, it was cool. Like it was grabbing dudes and like slamming their heads into the floor and like doing all sorts of shit. Yeah. And this is where the timeline sort of fucks up for me. So a couple important things happen. Once he sort of capture Caecilius for a minute, like he talks about why he's doing this, because the Ancient One's a hypocrite. That's where Mordo first learns it as well. Then the Ancient One shows up. They have a battle, I want to say in the mirror. No, not in the mirror world yet, because that's later. See, this way, like there's too much shit that goes on in the like 2/3 point that I'm like, I can't remember chronologically what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, I was high as fuck too, so that makes it harder. But what you just said reminded me that the cold open is the Ancient One versus the gang of bad wizards, and that happens so fast and is so dope, and it's such a good way to open the movie, not featuring Doctor Strange at all.
Yeah. Because when Caecilius steals it, they leave. They kill the librarian. They leave, and then the Ancient One chases them, and they fight like along the side of the buildings.
Right. You see your first Inception-esque world folding fights.
And this is like Inception on steroids in a weird, like this is just fucking, they twist reality in very cool, interesting ways. And I like that they use the reality twisting a lot as almost combat moves. Like they're doing it to fuck with gravity, to throw Strange off of his fucking, off of his feet and like make people fall through shit, through like doors to other dimensions. And like, it's all very clever.
I love that. I love when they use that door and jump off the building into it. That's when they flip the world and then fall into the dimension is such a dope scene.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to think. During one of these, this is where it gets so weird to me. Like, I'm trying to remember the difference. At some point, Doctor Strange gets hurt, right? And he does the scene from there's a Doctor Strange theory called The Oath, which I haven't read, but I've heard is highly entertaining if you're a Doctor Strange fan. Basically, where he gets his body to Christine, Rachel McAdams, in the hospital, the only hospital in New York City, and basically she has to operate on him while he talks her through it in astral form while fighting another dude in astral form.
Yeah, it's a pretty dope sequence.
Yeah. And the solution is to like zap his body with the fucking paddles to give him an extra boost in the fight.
Because it makes him it makes his spirit stronger.
Yeah, because science and magic.
When he just comes back and says, up the voltage and do it again. She's like, but you're alive. He's like, just fucking do it, lady. Let's get nuts.
That's the fucking theme of this movie is let's get weird.
Yeah. Sure.
So then the Ancient One gets injured during this whole thing, fighting off from the New York Sanctum, and then they have that whole moment of like I did this because of this reason. It was almost like her saying, why she was being a hypocrite.
Right.
And you didn't quite realize where Strange, if I remember correctly, like landed. And Mordo's like, he's not about it at all. He's just fucking pissed off about the whole thing. But he does realize that if Hong Kong falls, then everyone's dead. And that's where, what's his name, Calcilius went. They get there too late, if I remember. I'm sorry. Before this, we did have Stan Lee's fucking cameo, which was during the Foldy fight. They fall onto a bus, and he's reading Aldo Huxley's The Doors of Perception, which apparently was written on like a fuck ton of hallucinogens. I don't know. So that was neat.
I love that those 70s fucking like late 60s Marvel comics, like the Adam Warlock fucking Jim Starling, the fucking acid head or whatever. Who would they would walk around the Lower East Side tripping balls and like write these like long, like it would be like Adam Warlock in the middle of a page and then like a 2,000 word like philosophical diatribe around him. It's like, who is this comic for?
The people, the really high people. So then I think we get to what is sort of the crown jewel of this film, in my opinion, is so Hong Kong's already fucked. They get there too late, but Doctor Strange has taken the Eye of Agamotto and Agamotto, the Eye of Agamotto. I will get it right. And basically learns how to power glove, as you so aptly put it, Gabrus, time. Because he does. He dials it. He uses his hand and he dials it like the power glove. It's so bad.
Or it's like Minority Report.
Yeah, it's a strange mythical combination. So then basically the dark dimension is folding in, and Doctor Strange gets this idea because he doesn't know how to really stop it. The whole idea is Dormammu and the dark dimension are without time. They don't even know what time is, and that was sort of Calcilius's sort of whole plan is like Dormammu's dimension doesn't have time, so if we got Dormammu's dimension in, we won't ever die. And that also sort of taps into how the Ancient One was staying alive, blah, 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 blah. Conjecture. So then this is what I love. Actually, Gabrus, walk me through this moment. Walk me through how Doctor Strange defeats Dormammu.
So I don't love Dormammu because he's like a ephemeral being, but this defeat is he creates a save moment, if you will. That's what made me bring up about time, is he creates like a save moment and like a video game, and is just going to die over and over and over again to trap Dormammu in a loop because he doesn't fully get time. So he's stuck in a loop. And then what that means is for an eternity or however long, Doctor Strange is dying painful deaths. And it's really, they show a lot of them, which is really fun. They cut that together pretty well, that sequence.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain, then just fucking spikes up his ass. Or Dormammu, I've come to bargain, and just being ripped apart at the cellular level. And Dormammu's a big floating face, like a Ripley face, who was actually motion captured by Benedict Cumberbatch. Not voiced, but it's him doing Dormammu as well. Which I thought was crazy. I thought that was really cool.
That's because he loved doing the motion capture for Smog so much.
Yeah. Oh man, he was getting into that dragon.
I know, dude. When you see the behind the scenes, he's like on the ground and shit.
Yeah, he was fucking like. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I bet you he just really likes doing motion cap.
Yeah, I bet you he's like, let me demonstrate to Marvel that I could do motion capture too for when these movies are completely unacted.
Yeah, because it will happen.
When these movies are completely digital, I just want Marvel to know that I'm capable of handling it.
Yeah. So Doctor Strange traps Dormammu in this sort of time loop, and Dormammu, I love, he doesn't like get what's going on. It's like, I love seeing, it's a very Joss Whedon moment too, like this crazy, like super powerful celestial being that's totally knocked off his pace. Like he's like, wait, what's good? Huh? Wait, what the? I love seeing that. That's just a fun moment for me.
Anytime you can have an immortal or like an all-knowing being go, wait a minute, what's going on? Like it's always going to be very funny.
And basically,
to work.
Yeah. And he he gives them the ultimatum of like, he's got you stop Calcilius and leave this world alone, or we're gonna do this forever. And Dormammu realizes he can't beat that, so he secedes and basically leaves. And the world is saved, and Doctor Strange uses this might be what pushes Mordo off the ledge, because Doctor Strange then uses the Eye of Agamotto / Power Glove Time Gauntlet to fix Hong Kong.
Right. And break the rules of what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do.
Yeah. And so then
you're not supposed to create time streams or whatever, because it could, butterfly effect into God knows what.
Right. And I'm sure that'll be a problem. I bet it'd be interesting if like something like that caused like Thanos to realize where Earth is, or like something like that. Like,
right.
That's the call.
Awoke a beast or something that has to happen in a different movie, or, causes like Thor ripples. I feel like Thor is living in the magic world now too. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the third Thor. That little trailer that came out about like what Thor's been doing in between is pretty wild.
Being Gary's roommate, or I forget the character's name's roommate, but that was really fun. The fucking but yeah, no. So everything's fine in Doctor Strange. He becomes the Sanctum Master of New York. And you get that cool cloak moment, and then it's over. And then you see this post-credit sequence with Thor and Strange sitting in an office in the Sanctum, and they're basically like, they have this fun moment. He offers him tea. He doesn't drink tea. He gives him a beer that just sort of fills up, like, because that's what he drinks.
I had to piss so bad at this point, but I'm like standing by the door, like holding my dick, trying to watch the post movie sequence. I like this. It was obviously directed by Taika. I can't even say his name. Obviously directed by that dude who's directing Thor 3. Yeah, because it's very much tonally like what he does.
Yeah. And the whole thing is about like, Doctor Strange is now keeping tabs on any sort of, magical being that enters Earth. And he saw that, I guess, Thor and Loki, because they referenced Loki, came back. And he's like, that's pretty dangerous. He's like, I really want you to leave. And Thor's like, I'll leave when we find Odin. And then Doctor Strange's like, so if I help you find Odin, you'll go away? He's like, absolutely. And like, that's the end. So I'm wondering if Strange is going to be in Thor along with Hulk. Like, Hulk's definitely, yeah.
And then fucking Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. So like, Thor Ragnarok is going to be pretty fucking good. And this is coming from someone, obviously I think it'll be much better than Thor 2, even though I really liked Thor 2. I know a lot of people.
I thought Thor 2 and the first Captain America were like the two worst Marvel movies.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. I think...
And Iron Man 2 kind of sucked too.
Yeah, Iron Man 2 is probably my least favorite if we don't count the Hulks. But I liked Thor 2 because I felt like it was the closest I'd ever get to a new Masters of the Universe movie. Like, it felt very like they were even riding on like space sleds with lasers at one point. I'm like, that's fucking Eternia right there. So I like sort of signed on a weird different level for it.
Well, that's what makes me like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if Thor leans into that more and more, it's going to make it a different experience than watching Avengers or Guardians and stuff like that. So they need to learn to do that. And I think that's a very, very solid, you just made me clock in my head, rewatch Thor 2. Zoe's coming in for the kill again, dude.
Yeah, I know. My cat will not. Zoe is she wants to be on the show, but sadly, she will never be.
She just can't get to the theater anymore. She's so late.
So yeah, I mean, that's basically Doctor Strange. I think overall it was a great entry into the MCU.
It's a great entry into the MCU. I didn't love the post-credit sequence with Morgo or whatever his name is.
It kind of showed a little bit. Like why he's going to become a villain, because he goes to the guy who got his legs back with magic and basically says, he says, this isn't fair, and you can't walk anymore. And he like takes it away, which makes me to think that like, oh, he's just going to go fuck up everything with magic that he deems unfair. Very lawful neutral.
Yeah. He's like, you're not allowed to have magic unless you're using it directly for good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I liked it. I wonder if you just had to pee so bad, you're like, get me the fuck out of here.
That's definitely part of it. Also, I like when the double tag is something funny and crazy, like the shawarma thing, or it should be very obtuse. It should be like, 3 movies away, like I like the deep references that's like, this doesn't matter at all right now.
Right. Yeah, I could see that.
I'm just being a little bitch, that's all.
No, opinions matter. You said it yourself. So, final thought, Gabrus. Doctor Strange, should people go see this movie?
Yes, I recommend you see. If you're thinking at all about seeing it, I say you see it in the movies, 3D IMAX, as much into the graphics as possible. If you don't want to see it, don't rush, and then don't even go see it when it comes on DVD. But if it at all sounds appealing, get out there and see it now while it's still in theaters.
Do you think this could be a gateway into someone who's just been like, I don't really like them? Not even like they don't like it, they've like only seen it in passing or like anything like that. Like, do you think it's a standalone enough where someone might enjoy it, just being like, oh, this is a fun. I like Harry Potter.
I think if you're a stoner or like Harry Potter or like Benedict Cumberbatch, because he's really on display and very good in this movie.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably a big, and this makes Marvel seem even more calculating, there's probably a big fan base for Benedict Cumberbatch that have never seen a Marvel movie.
That is a very interesting point. I saw a PGA screening of this with my girlfriend, and there was just everyone who was coming out of the theater, both men and women, it was more of I think they were psyched for a Benedict Cumberbatch film more than a Doctor Strange film. So, I mean, this movie's made, God, what is it total domestic, or no, worldwide, $344 million. They're combining, Disney's doing what it does best is in combining viewership to make the most money-making union they can.
Jesus Christ. These monsters, they're so good.
They're so good. Anyway, this has been the only podcast about Doctor Strange in this reality, and I'm sticking to that. Gabrus, thank you so much for coming on and talking about this with me.
Thanks for inviting me into the mirror world where this is the only podcast about movies.
Yes, feel free to stay as long as you like. When you're not inhabiting my reality, where can folks find you?
You can find me on my podcast called High and Mighty, or High and Mighty with Jon Gabrus. I'm not actually sure, but search it on iTunes. Check it out if you're if you're listening to this podcast because you're a movie fan. I review some movies with some buddies, mostly action movies, and the rest of the podcast is just garbage if you're only into movies.
That is not true. The rest of the podcast is magical. Something that I really enjoy about your podcast is the fact that you can take topics that I don't give a fuck about and make them interesting enough where I enjoy listening. You do some sort of sometimes working out or like exercise type podcast. Like you're talking about a bunch of nerdy shit here, but you run the fucking gambit of topics. I just listened to.
We do a full episode about General Tso's chicken and then a full episode about growing up Iranian.
Yeah,
so.
I will know your Esther. When another guy code Girl Code alum, Esther Koo, the episode with her, I really enjoyed about her growing up and all that stuff. Like that was really good. So everyone, check out High and Mighty. You can find me at MatthewKroll.com or Emperor MSK on Twitter, Skeletor the #4 PREZ on Instagram. Oh, what's your Twitter, Gabrus?
At Jon Gabrus, no H in John or Gabrus. Yeah, tweet at me and Kroll with any disagreements you have about Doctor Strange. I'd love to engage with the fan base.
Oh, I'm sure there will be many. And as always, you can email us up at onlymoviepodcast@gmail.com or check out the website, onlymoviepodcast.com. And you can also check out Shahir on ShahirDow.com. There's a lot of .coms on this garbage. And, iTunes. Write some damn iTunes reviews, people. Please, we would love it so much. We'd prefer 5, but we'll take whatever you can give.
Rate us, honestly. Or just give us 5 stars.
Either way. No, it seriously helps. So if you enjoy what you're hearing, please do it. Anyway, I guess this has been the show. So thank you, Gabrus, again. And Shahir will be back next week, maybe, if I look for him hard enough. But
one last thing, listeners, if you're at all complaining about my audio levels, Kroll asked me to do some work to make sure they sounded good, and I chose the lazier path. So don't take it out on those guys. Take it out on the lazy D-list comedian, because I refuse to set up my own podcast.
I'm sure it sounds lovely.
I fucking hope so, because it's my fault if not. Right. Nice chatting with you, Kroll.
You too, buddy. Sorry, everybody. See you again next time. Later.
Later.